1,448 days ago, the Los Angeles Dodgers did it. They did the damn thing, going all the way and winning the World Series for the first time since 1988, except they did it in the absolute worst year imaginable. And whenever I bring this up, I always get the same argument that, oh, well, if your team won the World Series in 2020, I bet you'd count it as a real ring. And my answer to that, no, I wouldn't, at all. I'm sure at first it'd be fun and exciting. It's probably like doing it with a stripper. In the moment, it's great, but then the post-nut clarity hits and you immediately realize, yeah, no, that wasn't worth it or good at all. And what too many don't realize is when the whole Mickey Mouse ring thing gets brought up, it's not about the Dodgers. Okay, sure, maybe a little since they won it, but it's just a 2020 thing, really. No matter who won it that year, it was bound to always be looked at in a cheaper way compared to every other champion ever. I don't care if the Reds won in 2020, if the Rays won in 2020, if the freaking Montreal Expos were somehow revived and won it all in 2020. It's not as legit of a ring. It just is what it is. The moment the pandemic ruined everything, no true champion would be crowned that year. I'm just never going to take a season seriously that started in late June at only 60 games. People wore masks everywhere. No fans were allowed until the final couple series in Texas, where the Los Angeles Dodgers eventually beat the Tampa Bay Rays in Arlington, Texas. That makes no sense. The Dodgers were clearly the best team that year. They deserved the 2020 ring. But if I was a Dodger fan, and I've said this a ton of times, and I'll say it again right now, I would be beyond pissed that the one ring I've seen in my lifetime was in 2020. It could have been in any other year. So for it to happen in 2020, a year that the fans in the city of LA couldn't even have a parade and celebration with the team, screw that. Time to get a real ring. And 2024 will be a year I think the Dodgers at least get back to the World Series. Why? Well, before their series against the Padres, I wasn't this confident in the Dodgers. In fact, I actually kind of thought the Padres were going to win that series. The thing that's shaken me up with the Dodgers in the last month or so is the pitching injuries. It's gotten to a point pitchers on the Dodgers in 2024 can barely get out of bed without having an arm issue. It's obviously part of a larger baseball issue. An issue so big that even my mom chimed in on it recently after seeing something about it on CBS Sunday Morning, where some surgeon said about 50% of kids under 18 are getting Tommy John surgery. So it's bad when someone like my mom is noticing the problem, who's just about as plugged into baseball as I am with the latest season of the Kardashians. Is that show still on? Hold on, let me check. Yeah, it is. Damn you, Hulu. So the Dodgers definitely haven't been the place to be if you throw baseballs for a living. And because of that, I just honestly kind of checked out on the Dodgers, partially. Not all the way, because you can't just give up on any playoff team. But how on earth can they go deep into October with such a beat-down pitching staff? So against the Padres, a team that seemed hungry, finished the regular season as basically the best team in baseball after the second half that they had, I had a good feeling about them. And after blowing LA out in a chaotic Game 2 before Fernando Tatis Jr. hit yet another postseason bomb to make it 6-1 Padres in Game 3, things were looking real good in San Diego. Until they didn't. What changed? The Dodger pitching staff locking in like LeBron in the 2016 finals, shutting out the Padres to the final 24 innings of the series, and moving on to the NLCS the first time since 2021, and the first NLCS with home field advantage since 2018. And this feels like it has magic all over it. Now remember, I'm just a fan and human being like you, therefore also just like you, I could end up being completely wrong with my predictions. But the Mets to me feel like the Tigers. The Tigers never felt like they were going to win the World Series. Maybe you felt they were, but to me they felt like a nice magical run that would fall short but show promise for next year and beyond for baseball in Detroit. And the Mets to me feel the same way. Like the Tigers, just in a little less shocking of a fashion, the Mets shocked people by going on the run they did and making the postseason. They've proven a lot of people wrong, me being at the front of that line, but I just don't know if this is it. At this rate, I'm going to look like a real asshole and the Mets go on to win the whole damn thing. But I just feel like it's officially time for the Dodgers to get back to the World Series and try to get their first full regular season ring since 1988. It feels long overdue. And after passing the test that was the Padres, I feel like LA should be the favorites moving forward. Ironically, the biggest concern with them basically ended up being just about 80% of the reason they won the Padres series. They've had such a historic run with the scoreless innings against their opponents. It's like nobody went missing. And the hitting should be just as dangerous dangerous as ever. I love how Mookie Betts heard the can't hit in the playoffs talk and started doing exactly the opposite. Like, okay, suck on that. I'm not saying the Mets will be easy. They shouldn't be easy, and they obviously have a lot of magic going for them too. But the Dodgers seem more fitting to appear in this year's World Series, if that makes sense. Like, I could see the Mets making it next year or sometime within the next few years. They seem to be back on track after what looked to be a tough stretch moving forward. But this year, I don't know, man. I do also think the Shohei factor matters too. I know he was in Anaheim for 6 years, running with the Angels, so it's hard to look at this guy as a winner because this is his first year playing winning, meaningful baseball. But man, if you still, for whatever reason, ever thought anything phases this guy, I don't know what else you need to see. It's not pressure of a big contract or being in big moments. It's not his best friend stealing millions of dollars from him to get out of his gambling debt. It's nothing. I really do feel like he adds an extra piece of aura and magic to this Dodger team that they didn't have before, along with some of the other guys they have now, like Teoscar Hernandez. So it's time to go back and get what's theirs, to do what no Dodger team has been able to do since 1988. It's time to finish what has been started, or at the very least, get back to the World Series after all these years of joking. Let me know your thoughts, and thank you for watching.